Hi everyone, Misilla here. I hope that you guys are having a great weekend. It is such a beautiful day here today in the Pacific Northwest. I'm in Zone 8B and it's a perfect time to bring in my warm loving plants right here behind me or overwinter them. But first, I'll need to do a couple of things before I bring them inside. And I actually don't have the rest of my grow light set up yet, so I'm going to be just putting them in the living room where there is a skylight, so they'll have some indirect sunlight or a little bit of light. So let me show you what I'll be doing before I bring them in and get them inside in their temporary home until it warms up in spring again. So let's get to work. So before you bring in your plants indoors, make sure to check the leaves and the soil or top of the soil thoroughly for bugs. You don't want to bring those indoors, or you can just transplant them in new pots with new potting soil, which will reduce the chances of bringing bugs inside your house. I'm not so worried about bugs because these are going to end up going into the basement, and I use a neem oil spray to try and kill any insect pests that make it into the home. So I'm going to also check for infected leaves with mold or mildew. This is a Meyer lemon tree or a dwarf lemon tree, and it looks like one of the leaves have some black mildew on it. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that off so that way I don't bring it inside to the other plants, and also it will prevent it from spreading. See, there's some black mildew or mold on the leaves, so I went ahead and snip these off, and I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick rinse just to be sure that there aren't any more mold spores on the leaves, so I don't want to take chances. This one here is a bell pepper plant, so I'm going to go ahead and try to overwinter this. I've never overwintered a bell pepper plant before, so this is my first time, and I'm hoping that it'll make it through. And what's nice about overwintering pepper plants or even tomato plants is that you'll be able to get fruits faster rather than starting them from seeds and then transplanting them outdoors. So this way I'll have established plants already come late spring to put outdoors. So I'm going to cut back all the way down where there's a Y on the bottom of this plant. So about an inch right above the Y. So this whole top is coming off. So all we have left is this bottom part of the plant where there's a Y there, and there are some leaf nodes here that will branch out later on. Here's a jalapeno plant, so same thing again. I'm going to cut just right above where there is a Y, so about an inch above that. Cut off this top part here. I'm going to eat this little pepper. And if there's any, let's see, it looks like flowers, I'm going to go ahead and snip that off. Since the plant is going to be in a dormancy stage, I don't really want it to put the energy in producing any fruit. So we are still going to feed this. I'm going to add some worm castings in there and a little bit of potting mix. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape off the top soil and put some new soil in there to feed the plants throughout the winter time. Here is a lemongrass that I'll be bringing indoors as well. And if you'd like to just take a few stalks, you can dig them up and transplant them into a new pot. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and bring in the whole plant, spray this down, make sure it's all free of bugs, and also add some organic worm castings in there to keep the plant fed for the winter time. If you decide to overwinter just a stalk of two from the mother plant, you can dig them up and plant them in a separate pot. But you'll have to cut back some of these leaf blades or most of it, so that way the stalks can become acclimated to its new home and produce its own roots. So I can show you how to do that. I'm not afraid of cutting back some of these leaves because I know it'll shoot back. So when you decide to dig up some of the stalks, cut back your leaf blades all the way down like that, and it'll produce some new shoots for you. Here is a ground cherry that I'll be overwintering as well. So this is a cousin of the tomato and pepper plants, so the nightshade family. And I really want this to produce again, so I think it's still alive, but all the leaves are dying back. So I'm going to prune it back all the way and bring this indoors so we can have another ground cherry plant. Oops, got backwards here. The fruits of these are so delicious. They kind of remind me of little tomatoes, but somewhat a little sweeter. So I went ahead and just cut back all the dead foliage and stems. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring this whole pot indoors. I've got some microgreens growing along the sides here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and add some worm castings in there and feed it. So just kind of loosen up the soil like that and scrape some off. Just like that. And I've got a potting soil here that's mixed in with organic compost as well as worm castings. But I'm going to go ahead and add some more worm castings in there too later on. I already scraped off some of the soil in this pepper plant here, so I'm going to go ahead and put some soil on top there so the roots are not exposed. So adding the potting soil in there with the organic compost will help sustain the plant life, and we'll feed it throughout the winter months. I'm dumping some of this old potting mix. We're going to replenish it again with new potting mix and some worm castings. Adding some organic worm castings. I think I'm going to get a different fertilizer for this lemon plant because I know they require a lot of other nutrients. So just kind of work that worm casting in there. So now I'm going to give it a good rinse. So you want to get under the leaves as well. I am so glad I got this all done. So they are now all ready to go indoors. So stay tuned. I'll be setting up some grow lights and I'll be showing you their new home next weekend and also for a giveaway. So make sure you tune in next Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope that you guys found this video helpful today and enjoyed it as well. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful weekend. One last tip I forgot to mention earlier is to keep watering to a minimum. You do not need to water your plants every other day or twice a week. You can water them at least once a week or even once every 2 weeks. When the top of the soil feels dry to touch, that's a good sign that your plants need watering. But remember, we are in the cooler months, so the water will not evaporate as quick. And I'm putting these in the basement. It's about 60, 65 degrees at the warmest. So, and you don't want to overwater because the roots can rot, especially during the cold winter months. So that is it, guys. Thanks again for watching.